Hey everybody, welcome back to the workshop. It's Saturday, December 14th, 2019. We're going to do a flea market finds kind of segment today. Not exactly a flea market find. The flea markets are pretty much done this time of year. What we've actually got is a grouping of items that I bought off of an individual who is about an hour, a little over an hour away from here in Fall River, Massachusetts. Normally I wouldn't have driven this far out for these items at this price, but I already had a reason that I was going to be out in that area that particular week, so I contacted the individual and I asked him if he had any other items other than what was displayed in his ad, and he said he did have a few more things, and I suggested that I come out and take a look at them. So we made arrangements to meet him at his workplace and basically did the deal right there in the parking lot. So we're going to highlight that, and then we're going to throw in a few just small items that I picked up over the past several weeks on numerous trips to the used tool store in the city. So let's dive right in. So this was actually a little while back now, but I've been so busy, it's taken me a while to get caught up with filming and editing and everything else. So I don't even remember exactly when it was that I picked this up. Had to have been probably near the end of November. So anyways, there's some good and there's some bad here. For example, we've got a digital 0 to 1 inch micrometer in excellent condition. That's the good. The bad is that he didn't have the original case, and the other thing that's bad about this particular micrometer is that it's a Fowler. Now Fowler is not, I wouldn't characterize it as cheap junk, but a lot of the Fowler stuff is considered a lot lower price and grade than, say, your Starrett or even Mitutoyo for that matter. But a lot of the older Fowler stuff that I've come across has been an excellent, really nicely made stuff. But these digital micrometers, people have a love-hate relationship with these. I wouldn't even want one of these in Starrett because they're so expensive in Starrett, and the reality is they're just not that great to me. I have, if I want to use one, I kept one of my Brown & Sharps that I had acquired. And the thing is like brand new, it's pristine. And I always take the battery out when I store it because, again, the way these things work, they're always putting a little bit of a electrical load on that battery even when they're off, because of the fact that they basically have to, the little tiny computer that's inside there basically is waiting for someone to come along and hit one of these buttons. So it's always ready to sense an input from someone. And this one has this on-off button, whereas a lot of them will have an on button, and then if you just stop using it for a certain amount of time, it goes to sleep. But when it's sleeping, that little digital circuit in there is still drawing a very, very tiny amount of power from the battery, and that's so that, again, it's ready to be used just by hitting the button. It wakes up. And so that's why if you're going to have it in storage for a while and you're not using it regularly, it's a good idea to take the battery out completely. So it's in pretty good shape, decent quality. So if I didn't mention it already, we went back and forth, and I think I got this pile for $80. It was either 80 or 90. I actually don't remember now, because we added one more item that I originally was going to just keep out of the deal. I think it might have been the 90 is what we settled on. So $90 for this pile. Again, so this is one of the items, so we're going to sell that. Next item is one of the items that he did have a case for, but all it is it's a Mitutoyo micrometer. It's a 1 to 2 inch, but it's in good shape. Engraved on the back, ratchet. It's a tense micrometer, so that's a plus, and the lock works. And it is carbide faces, and the carbide faces, I already looked at them, they're in mint condition. So this is a nice micrometer. Even has what looks to be an original Mitutoyo 1 inch standard in the case with it, and the papers. So this is actually in really good shape, even though the box is dirty. So that's a nice little 1 to 2 inch micrometer, Mitutoyo. I'll check, but I probably will sell this one and keep whatever I currently have. I think I have a Brown and Sharp right now. Hit these couple loose items here. Vernier, you know, normally 6-inch vernier like this, I would have like zero interest in it. What I like about this one is it's not a cheap junk name, it's a Mitutoyo. What this gives you the ability to do is this gives you ability to do a coarse adjustment with your finger, and then by tightening this clamp nut, leaving this one loose, you then get to use this little thumb wheel down here, the barrel shaped one, to actually make very fine adjustments. It's got the satin chrome finish, which makes it a lot easier to read your lines. And there are still quite a few people who swear by these. You know, the idea is that if you use one regularly, you get really good at reading them quickly. And if that's the case, then this is a tool you can have that's always going to be reliable for you and accurate, because you don't have to worry about the batteries ever dying. And even a dial micrometer, a good quality dial micrometer, there's always the danger of something, well, not always. I mean, some of them are really good at keeping stuff out, but sometimes you got your favorite pair of dial micrometers and hey, a little tiny piece of swarf or something gets in the track for that little pinion gear that's inside there to move along, and it skips a tooth, or something happens where it actually goes out of calibration and you don't realize it, and suddenly you're a thou off, and maybe that's a big deal. It's a nice little set. I don't know if I'm going to keep those or not. This is kind of unfortunate. I say unfortunate only because it's a nice high-end micrometer. This is a Starrett number 220. This is a Starrett 220 micrometer, and this is what I like to call a multi-anvil micrometer. So what we have is this knob down here that will loosen this little vise jaw type of arrangement and allow you to remove what right now is in there is a dowel pin. All right. It's got the friction thimble that should usually just turn in one direction, so that needs a little attention. The lock works, so we loosen this knob, jaw opens up, we can remove this dowel pin and we can put a different size pin in there. Or originally when you bought one of these, I believe it would come with other shapes. I have one of these in the box with a whole series of little pieces. Actually, I don't think I even have the box, but I have all the little pieces, or a lot of them. So this being out loose with nothing but one dowel pin in there really hurts the value. If it was in its case and it had all the pins, that would really help the value of this thing. So here's my current keeper, 220. Much better condition. Also without the case though. The friction thimble on this one actually works correctly, whereas it rotates freely in this direction and then does not want to rotate in the opposite direction, the opening of the jaw direction. I also have this Mitutoyo in a 1 to 2 inch. This is the only 1 to 2 inch I have in this style, multi-anvil micrometer like this. The unfortunate thing about this one is the lock is broken. But in addition to the dowel pins, it came with these funky little jaws. So this one's got like a step shape to it. See it? So you can see where there might be an application where that might come in really handy to get into a certain tight space. This, I'm not even convinced if this is an actual original jaw, or if it isn't something somebody ground and made. This looks like also it's an original jaw. Well, when in doubt, consult the Starrett catalog. There it's pictured with a couple of the anvils, and then it goes on to say, with V anvil measuring thickness of a flange on a screw. So that V anvil, saw that one with the V notch in it, that must be the V anvil. And those other two pieces are these two anvils right here. So there's a note down here where it says, all right, so it doesn't have a ratchet stop. It has a locking nut, a case, and round and flat anvils unless otherwise ordered. Available with attractive protective case. Sent without case unless otherwise ordered. Packed 1 per box. So that I guess explains the mystery of why so many of these are found without the case. They were probably ordered that way. Interchangeable anvils permit quick, accurate measurement of tubing, cylindrical walls from a hole or slot to an edge, and in many hard-to-reach locations. 2 anvils furnished. A rod anvil approximately 120 thousandths in diameter, and a flat anvil approximately 125 thousandths and 60 thousandths thick. So that's what the step is, so you can actually turn it around. Also available with a V anvil for measuring thickness of screw heads, shoulders, and lengths. And can be used as a height gauge by removing the vise jaw. Huh. Oh, that's cool. And I never knew that about these, I don't think. So the idea is if we unscrew this all the way, now we can use this as a precision height gauge. Huh. I learn something new every day. Next item up is actually one of the items that I was going to pass on because I thought maybe he was valuing it more than I was going to value it, which is this is a Products Engineering Corporation solid square set, a 7000-S4. I haven't looked it all up yet, but I'm almost positive this is going to be a cheap import. Sticker has a part number 57-064-868. That's probably one of the major online catalog houses or something. You know what it is it's a little square set. Kind of a neat little set. I think somebody's going to really enjoy this. So there's no markings on them to indicate where they're made. All they have is something that says PEC Tools for the name of the company. Now the interesting thing about that is PEC stands for Products Engineering Corporation. I just recently purchased a square that I had never heard of before, and it's a PEC square. And now I know it must be this company here. And it was actually sold in the MSC catalog, and it was a little, it wasn't super cheap. So I'll have to look into this. But again, nothing to indicate where these are made. So they might be one of those imports that's actually considered decent quality. Oh, so it's a 2-inch, a 3-inch, a 4-inch, and a 6-inch square. They look like they're in really good shape. I don't see any damage on them. I don't know what these marks are on the back. So right now, I don't have my phone with me, but I have no idea what the value is of those. All right. Next item up, very generic looking plastic case, no markings on the outside, telescopic hole gauge set, more than likely a cheap import set. The funny thing about these is they actually have a really nice chrome finish on them, and they seem to work perfectly fine. These are the style that both sides, there are 2 versions of these, generally speaking. There's a version where one side is fixed and only one side moves, and then there's the side, this style here, which came later, I believe, which both sides actually move. And these are supposed to be, the idea behind this is that they're almost like they're self-centering in the bore. In other words, if one of these sides was fixed, then depending on the size of the bore, this handle would be closer to one side than the other. And true to their cheesiness, they're devoid of absolutely any markings other than a letter to be matched up with the letter in the pouch, so you can take a quick look and see what size they are. So this set is good from 5/16 of an inch up to 6 inches, which I think that's a typical set that you tend to see from like Mitutoyo, Starrett, Fowler, Brown and Sharp. And then they have the smaller sets that have the even smaller sizes to go down a grade from that. So that'll be a nice cheap set for somebody who doesn't have any. And last but not least, we have another Fowler piece. And this is a Fowler Deluxe Cylinder Bore Gauge Set. It has an EDP number 16445 and a 72-646-300-0. That's a catalog number that kind of mimics the catalog number I saw on one of these pieces we were looking at earlier. So yeah, similar style to that catalog number. So I got a feeling we're looking at like MSC maybe, or somebody like that. I don't think the MSC numbers run that way. Yeah, if I had my phone, I would just Google it real quick and we'd know. But anyways, without further ado, what this is. Man, those are hard to open. I hurt my little finger. So this is a precision dial bore indicator, and it's in immaculate shape. And what this allows you to do is this allows you, by switching out different sized rods down here, this allows you to use this to get very precision measurements on bores. In addition to the rods, over here we have these shims, for lack of a better term. They're almost like little tiny washers or little rings, but these are different size shims, 2, 4, 8, and 12 thousandths that can be added. So I don't know exactly, I've never used one of these, but if we push on this point right here, this is the contact point right there, see it? So the rods would go on the back side here. We push on this contact point, we can see a deflection. So we know that's a good working device. So I'm definitely going to want to keep one of these. This one is in really great shape and it's complete, so it's going to be one of those decisions I'm going to have to make. Do I want to keep this one and sell the other one that I have that isn't in as good a condition as this one and as clean as this one? Or being that I don't need to use one of these all the time and I just want to have it for that rare occasion when I might be doing something like rebuilding an engine, maybe it's better to just keep the ugly one. So here's my previously acquired one, Mitutoyo. That's the good, better quality in my opinion than the Fowler. Case is certainly easier to open. Here's the bad. we've got some issues here. This is exactly how I acquired this. Note, we're missing the indicator. Now, that's not that big of a deal though, because what goes in here is a regular drop indicator. I remember when I acquired this, initially it didn't have all the pieces, and then in the same estate when I was picking it, I ended up coming across, as luck would have it, I think like I think this might have been in the box and this was missing, and then I found this later. It's cracked right here, but that's not really that big of a deal. It's the Mitutoyo, so it definitely belongs to this thing. So even the screws are here. So the beauty is I can install any indicator I want in this thing of the proper size drop indicator and put this back into working condition. The problem with this set is, other than that, the indicator needing to be replaced, it's missing 3 out of the 4 shims, unfortunately. That's the negative. What to do? And just a real quick down memory lane, here's some more that I already acquired a while back. Haven't decided what to do with. Here's a Federal for like really small bores. It's missing the crystal that goes on here, but it actually still works. And the points in this darn thing are so small that they just kept falling out of position, so they're actually in this little container in here. This is for 310 thousandths to 628 thousandths small hole gauge. This is another Mitutoyo. It's a pretty early one. Clearly it's Mitutoyo branded. Same principle as the big set we just looked at, but the pins are a lot smaller. It's missing some pins. It's missing one of the shims. And it just has a Federal indicator in here. So it's got a little bit of a sticky problem there from age. But again, it's just a regular drop indicator. It wouldn't be too hard to swap out something else in there. This one, can't quite make out the manufacturer on this, but it says ROLLE Switzerland on the bottom here. So I'm assuming that's not the manufacturer. I'm assuming that's the, yeah, here we go. P-Rock, I don't know, P-Rock, ROCH, Precision Measuring Tools, Switzerland. So this is probably was a pretty expensive, nice piece back in the day. And this is a precision bore gauge. Really nice long reach on this sucker. And it appears to have the original indicator Etalon, which is a fine quality precision tool manufacturer in Switzerland, indicator on it. All right, and I think, yeah, this is still works perfect. Comes with various anvils. This apparently is good for 0.80 to 1.28 inches. Oh, I take that back. There's more than one. Oh, I see what they're doing here. Okay. This is usable from 0.80 all the way up to 2 inches. And basically the chart explains to you that what you would do is you would add a 9 and an 8 to a 1 to give you the ability to go up to 1.86 inches. So you would go in here and you'd find your number 9, your number 8, and your number 1, and you would stack them together apparently. Does that make sense? And then this is, who makes this sucker? This is a Federal. This is exactly how I found this. Cream puff, no case. And this one might have an issue. Doesn't seem to be moving. Of course, it could just be the indicator could be sticking. So what this has got on it is interesting to me. This has got a threaded hole on the end here. Almost looks like a contact point. Should just go in there. There you go. And Bob's your uncle. And then this apparently, you loosen this jam nut and you can move this rod in and out to act as an adjustable anvil and give you different variations. So I guess the idea here would be you'd use a micrometer to set this to your go or no go dimension and then go down on the bore with that. And I'm sure this came in a kit probably with different size rods that maybe you would put in there. I don't know. Although I don't see why you couldn't take this point out and screw another extension on here and make this actually usable for other size bores too. And then I had these dial test branded hole gauges. So somewhere, I don't know if I just found these exactly the way they were and just loose like this, or whether or not I actually have somewhere an indicator that this goes on, and you would change these interchangeable pieces on there. Don't know. All right, enough of the trip down memory lane. Back to the matter at hand. All right, now we're on to the used tool store finds and a couple other just little odds and ends here to get out of the way. So let's start with these grinding discs. They're unusual. They're concave. All right, and they're made by a company called Mercer Abrasives. Type 28A24S. They're marked for metal. These are 9" by 1/4" by 5/8 11. So 5/8 11 is the bore and thread. So these should thread right onto my larger hand grinder. So these were on the junk table in the middle of the place that he throws all this stuff on, and the price, depending on the day, the price changes. Items that day were $2 a piece. So these are brand new, unused. There was 2 of them there. I didn't have any of this style. I thought, well, maybe at some point I'm going to want something like that. I looked them up online. They're a little pricey. Definitely was worth the $2 a piece for these, I think. These 2 items here actually came up on, I think, Facebook Marketplace, and they were pretty close by to me, only about 30 minutes drive. And I basically contacted the seller and said that I would be interested in purchasing them if he could hold them for me for a few days until I was in the city where he was located, and ended up meeting up with him and picked these up. And he said a lot of people had contacted him through Facebook Marketplace requesting that he ship these. He was basically selling these 2 items together for $10. That's right, $10. And the idea is, yeah, all right, that's all fine and dandy. This is a Vargas deburring tool. Had several of these come and go. It's got the quick release. It's got a couple extra cutters in the back there. Actually, there's a couple of little deburring attachments that I've never seen with these before, which are of interest to me. This is great for doing small holes. It's got sharp edges. You see that? There's a smaller version of it there. Oddly enough, not sure how you're supposed to use that with this. I think you just had them in here for storage, maybe. I don't know. because that does not come out. That's not made to come out. And it does not unscrew. And there's no threaded hole on the other end, so it's not like I could turn it around even if I wanted to. So I don't think these belong in there. Anywho, I mean, these aren't that expensive new, so this is just gravy. This is what we were after. Me and the mouse in my pocket. We're after this thing for 10 bucks. It's a machine scraper. The Anderson Brothers Manufacturing Company of Rockford, Illinois, USA. It's got a patent number on it. This is a number 522 apparently. That's 5 space 22. There's adjustment here so you can, I guess, lengthen the amount that this sticks out from here. I don't know why you would want to do that. It's got a piece of carbide on the end. These are still available, and they're not cheap. Now, I acquired, I think, one of these way back when, different brand probably, and then maybe within the past 2 years I acquired my second one. This will be my third one, but the other ones have a different design. This is the one I picked at the tractor show, probably for around 10 or 15 bucks, which is also a really good buy. And this is an Anderson Brothers also. I think it's a much earlier one. It's got this set up here where you basically have to bang this clamp off and set it. It's also got a piece of carbide on the end with a little bit of a bevel to it. But notice the handle design. I think this is an improvement, because the idea is you're going to be using this in this fashion here. So it's also a longer one. And I don't know when my third one is right at the moment, so I can't show you that one. But I think most of you who know what these scrapers go for would agree that $10 is a hell of a score just for the scraper alone. And this is just thrown in extra, so you know, if you value this at 5 bucks, it's like you got the scraper for 5 bucks. Back to the tool store. I think that same day I got the grinding wheels. I got on the $2 table there was this. So this is just a piece of flexible metal conduit, electrical conduit, and it's probably, oh, looks like it's about 5 feet. So I figured this was a good deal for 2 bucks, because this will be good for when I want to wire up a machine here in the shop, a freestanding machine. Have the metal electrical junction box on the wall that this would attach to, and then this gives you some flexibility to run over to the actual machine's control box. Then just this past week I hit the used tool store and ended up scoring this little pile of stuff here. Brown and Sharp thread gauge, aka fishtail, for 2 bucks. Oh yeah, this is interesting. Normally I would never pay 6 bucks for one of these executive pocket chum type things, but this was a little bit different. This one is an executive Cali protractor. The first one I've seen of these. Usually they're called the executive pocket chum, and they're just a caliper. This one is a Cali protractor, so what it's got is it's got a built-in little arm that comes out right here. Alright, so this doubles as a protractor. So what caught my eye as being neat and interesting. Certainly not going to make a lot of money on this thing, because I paid 6 bucks for it. And I paid 6 bucks for this C493B Starrett protractor. The C designates that it's the satin chrome finish, which is nice. They make 2 styles of these. They make the style where this part here isn't square. It's actually semicircular, like the graduations. I think this is nicer because this allows you to get a positive 90-degree. If you want to put it up like that, you can. So more versatile, I think. Anyways, I think I already have one of these, so I'll be able to sell that one. It's $6, and I can usually get 10 or 12 bucks for these. And once you pay the shipping on it, normally it's not worth it, but I have buyers that I work with, and we'll set stuff aside in a pile, and we'll do flat rate shipping or whatever once the pile gets big enough. These were in a little box he had. Items were 25 cents a piece. I picked, there were actually more, but I figured, I don't even know if I'm going to ever use these, but for 25 cents a piece, I picked 4 of these brand new little grinding stones on these long shanks. They might come in handy at some point for something. This is nice. This is a satin chrome hook rule. Starrett. This is a CH604R-6, and it's in really great shape. The hook rule means that it's got this little piece right on here, which makes it easier to take a measurement from the edge of something. Holds the ruler right at the edge for you. Might keep that one, I don't know. I've got actually just recently acquired in a lot of stuff we just went through not that long ago. For those of you who remember, I got the 604R right here. Okay, hook rule. So I'm not sure which one I want to keep. Interesting design here. Notice this hook rule has the hook on both sides, so you can use either side as opposed to this one. So I know I have a larger hook rule. I don't know if I have a 6-inch.